Hey guys, today we are talking about everyone's AI favorite play, Palantir. That's right, Palantir stock, a stock I covered over a year ago when it was probably around $20 at the time. Wasn't touching it there. It was definitely coming off a heat streak, but we are revisiting Palantir today. A little bit of a different story. Obviously, time has passed, the company has changed, it's grown, the valuation's a little different. So we're going to hop in and talk about the two ways I'm playing this. So the first way is through options, and we'll talk about exactly the play that I'm putting on. And then the second way is actually trying to buy it for my long-term portfolio. So that would be my Fidelity account. And then the options play that we're going to talk about is more short-term focused, and that would be in my Tastyworks account. So two different plays kind of going on, but in the same stock. So we're going to talk about Palantir. First, let's look at this chart of Palantir. It's definitely looking a little overbought. RSI above 70. This thing gapped up from 8 to 9 after the last earnings and has definitely been running with the market overall. Tech obviously has been killing it. NASDAQ, I think, is up like 34-35% year to date, which is just absolutely bonkers. But this stock has also risen with the tides and has gone from 9 all the way up to 17 before pulling back to 14, but right around this $15 area. If it did pull back to the 50-day moving average, right, kind of reverted back to the mean, it would be moving back down to that $10 level. I don't really see it coming back down to below 10. I think around 10 is kind of the downside where I could see this pulling back maybe over the next couple months. But then I do have to admit, with kind of AI and the hype building around AI and how momentum tends to work with this kind of stuff, I don't see it really pulling back that quickly. This kind of reminds me of EV, crypto, metaverse, all these kind of hype waves or hype momentum moves. And so if this does pull back, I think it gets bought up pretty quickly as people are looking for AI plays in their portfolio. So with all that said, 15, I think it's a little overbought here. But the reason I got into Palantir is because of the volatility in the options. So this morning, or actually yesterday, I noticed it was flirting with a IVR or implied volatility, or not, sorry, IVR and implied volatility rank of close to 50. So this morning I opened a strangle, which means I sold a put and then I sold a call at the same time. So I collected around $59 in premium. And how this trade works is essentially I skewed it where I have a little bit more long delta. So I sold the strike at the 13 strike, meaning the delta was closer to 0.15 in the morning. And then I actually sold a call, so the 23 call, which is pretty far out of the money. And the thought is with a stock like this that could possibly kind of go into hyperdrive or just like, kind of just rip bears' faces off. I definitely want more room to the upside for this thing to run versus the downside, even though I think it is slightly overbought. And, the plan with this actually is I kind of want it to pull back and want it to kind of test this 13 area. So, this position is a strangle, so it's playing more of the volatility, reverting back to 0. So implied volatility with all the news around Palantir, the implied volatility has gone up. So I'm selling implied volatility with this strangle play. But if we did go down to $12, right, I have the $59 of credit collected, I would be okay with getting exercise on the 13 strike and basically having a cost basis of 13 minus the $59 that I collected. So that's kind of the first play, purely volatility driven, selling a strangle there. The second play is actually trying to buy this stock for the long-term portfolio. So if we look at the long-term portfolio currently at 61,000, year to date, it's been having a great year, up close to 19%. Versus 13% on the S&P 500 over the past year, kind of closer in, I would say returns versus the S&P 500. But looking at Palantir as a possible addition and thinking it is slightly overbought right now, and we may see a pullback before continuing higher. I went ahead and actually sold a put option at the $10 strike all the way in August. So how this would work is if Palantir did come back down to that $10 level, I could scoop up 100 shares at a $10 strike price. So $1,000 in a position with $20 collected, so it'd be $980 as a cost basis. So this is kind of putting in a limit order, but getting paid to do so. In terms of fundamentals for Palantir, I think probably it's worth right now around $13. So if I could scoop it up at 10, that's a decent discount to where I think it should probably be trading. If you go to something like Finbox and look at all the models, it's closer to around 12. You have a range of analysts thinking really bearish, $5, and then you had a little bit of a juicer today because Bank of America came out, or one of their analysts came out with a $18 price target, really focusing on AI. The other thing I wanted to mention, so looking at the last earnings, it was pretty good. I did talk about it actually in a short form video, kind of looking at a stock like Palantir versus a stock like PayPal, and how you could argue investing in something like Palantir could work out if the growth expectations actually are higher than what is baked into the stock. One thing that I liked about the last earnings is they're actually profitable. And then looking at their free cash flow, they also had free cash flow growth year over year. And the big thing for me with Palantir, and I talked about it last year, was the stock-based compensation being a little bit out of hand. So what's important for me is to see free cash flow and then factoring in the stock-based compensation. What does that free cash flow look like? So adjusted free cash flow, 189. If we look at the cash flow statement for the last quarter, 114 million of stock-based compensation. Again, don't love that for stocks, but even if you factor in stock-based compensation, they do truly have free cash flow. A lot of companies like to say stock-based compensation is an expense. I usually add it or remove it from free cash flow or net income. They tend to try to adjust it back out, but that is diluting the earnings per share and the possible earnings in the future in terms of a EPS perspective. But the earnings overall were definitely good. They came out, and going back to the stock, that's kind of where you saw the 8 to 9 jump, and then pretty much 10 to 15 has been riding this AI wave. So I'm definitely bullish on the company long term. And with the volatility pop on playing it is a little bit with selling options, getting the premium from those options, and then hoping for a bit of a pullback to possibly get an entry into the stock, add a little bit more into some of my AI plays of the portfolio. I currently already have NVIDIA, AMD, TSM, Meta, Google, Microsoft. Those have all been doing amazing. But totally okay with adding another growth play kind of as the dynamics of the bull market has changed for 2023. And I think October of last year was the bottom. And I've been playing it like that for the past 6 months. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on Palantir. Looking at the stock, the options, that's how I'm playing it. And yeah, long term, I think Palantir has a future. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think of Palantir? What do you think of the options plays? It's all good. Also, yeah, if you notice the different background, moved to a new apartment. So future videos will have this background. But yeah, hopefully you can get out more YouTube videos in the future now that I have a new setup and I've finally moved in. But I appreciate you guys watching. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, I have a free weekly newsletter that I am sending out, talking macro, market news, kind of looking at these plays every week, and it's free. So if you want to check that out, go to the link in the bio and sign up and get that every Thursday. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.